Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fandom Post Radio podcast. I am your engineer, Kate, and joining me this week is Brandon.
Yo.
Kestrel.
Hi.
Mark.
Hello.
And Kane.
Hello, hello.
And we are here to talk about anime, more specifically the summer 2026 season. And since we are, I don't know, the seasons are like all over the place lately. So I have like one show that's only 3 episodes in, and other shows are like halfway through. And some things haven't even gotten to new material yet. So the world is chaos now, and the rules don't apply anymore. And I don't even know where we are anymore. First, do we have any news from what that happened? I know there was another convention.
There were several other conventions, yep. We'll get to that. First, actually, one of those other conventions that we mentioned last time was San Diego Comic-Con, and they announced the announcement that they would be announcing the new Gundam series. So they did that, and it is not to be outdone by G-Quox, Mobile Suit Gundam RG Alex Zero, spelled RG space XARX hyphen 0, spelled out. And that is, I had mentioned a few episodes ago during Summer Games Fest or whatever, they announced a new Gundam game called Gundam Rogue Orbit, and that it would be a new Gundam universe. And so this is confirming that they will be kind of the two pillars of that universe, where Alex Zero, RG Alex Zero, takes place 100 years before Rogue Orbit, kind of the origin story of that world. And it is the year AA45. AA is after apocalypse. There's some space robot evil stuff virus that comes and creates apocalypse. So that's AA1 is the apocalypse. And then 45 years later is Alex Zero, and then Rogue Orbit is 100 years after that. And it says just animated by Sola Animation. It doesn't even say co-production with Sunrise. So we'll see what that ends up being. And it is being directed by Kenji Kamiyama, who I like to point out has now, in the past 5 years, has directed Ultraman, Ghost in the Shell, Star Wars, Blade Runner, Lord of the Rings, and Gundam.
Holy stacked resume.
At least on paper.
On paper,
so done one or two things is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, the paper resume is looking pretty good.
Yeah.
You could say there's some... Yeah. The Lord of the Rings movie was not bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad either. Could have done with a little bit, a few more cuts to the film, and some other things. But yeah, most importantly, director aside and all that, this Gundam has both a cape, bandages, and a fucking alien arm. So
I was gonna say it doesn't matter. The Gundam has a cloak. It's peak fiction.
Yeah, I took one look at that and I'm like, is it cold? And then I saw somebody else making the exact same joke online, and I'm all like, hey, this is my shtick. Get out of here.
It's not
plagiarizing.
It's just cool.
We're so far into the future, the robot itself can be Chunibyo now.
Right.
at least the bandages you could make an edge piece for. I was thinking if it's like depending on how, because it looks very like this Gundam is just being held together by like tape and hope, and maybe the bandages are like a last ditch effort to keep an arm like piece on. But I mean, they're also like battered and whatever. But that was like the only thing I could come up with other than, well, it looks rad.
All they have to do is say Minovsky particles, and then it doesn't matter.
No, they'll call it something different in this universe. Every universe has them rebranded.
That's true.
Yeah.
What do you think our Char is going to look like this time?
Ooh.
Dude, what sexual name do you think he's gonna have?
Sex 2.
Yes.
But I mean, if this Gundam has like an alien arm, then maybe it's actually just an Ava, and that explains the bandages.
Yeah, it could be biomechanical. Maybe.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Suppose that would have been more appropriate last time around since it was the Ava guys, but Anno just wants to remake UC, so yeah.
Yeah.
His roundabout way of doing it.
Yeah. Oyama's kind of like Anno. They just keep making all of their favorites from growing up.
Yeah. Big surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it's got me interested, I'm not gonna lie. Like, seeing it have the weird alien arm was enough to be like, yeah, it's not UC, but at least they're doing something creative with it. Like, they're hit bashing real Gundams together to try to, like, make something happen, which is kind of neat from, like, a ragtag. This could be, like, Earth's Last Resort, and it's just this, like, bucket of bolts that they have to figure out how to get to work all the time, and then they're just like constantly, doing, Tim Allen's Home Improvement on it over and over again. So, I mean, why not? Why not?
I love that, like, as time goes on, you can get more and more incomprehensible mech designs. As long as it retains the RX-78 color scheme, everyone knows it's Gundam, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, on a scale of it's a Gundam to War's Hell, where do you think this is gonna fall?
It's a Gundam. I don't know how effective any like War is Hell is gonna be when we have this Gundam wearing a cloak and bandages with a part robot arm and like a part alien arm and stuff. It's too cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of a not very original sci-fi premise, but it's, I guess, kind of novel for Gundam. But it also means that, I don't know, it might feel less like relatable in terms of human interaction if the enemy is just like mysterious alien nanomachines.
Oh, we forgot to mention the robot also has heterochromia, so it's like even more edgy.
Wow, that is the chuniest Gundam ever.
Bro, it's great. Love that.
Now, do you want to take bets on how quickly you'll still see a Haro in this show?
Literally the key art, or not the key art.
Exactly.
There was a good.
Maybe the key art.
Are we back in the Haro era? Is that what it comes to? Because there was a time where there was like no Haro for a long time.
You've always got Haros.
Yeah, Haro's been all over New Gundam.
Yeah, new Gundam, but like
he's
there was
got this eyes.
Oh, that's terrifying.
It's so small.
I'm pretty sure we got our Char clone in the trailer as well. So
Oh, did we? I didn't see the trailer.
We have all our staples.
Our Dollar General Char. Our Haro.
Timu Char.
Yeah, Timu Char.
Timu Char.
And our Gotcha Haro.
Oh.
Yeah, I think going back to what you were saying a little bit earlier, Bran, about how if you just put the RX-78-2 like color selection on it, like its colorway, everyone knows it's the Gundam. And I know this has been, at least in like the Gundam subreddit and some other stuff, like a bit of a criticism of the new series pieces in general, is that because they're made CGI now, you can get super duper crazy with all these designs in a way you may not have before when you still had to like hand draw some of it. And that's just the way they tie it all together still. Because since mobile suits are almost all CGI now for the most part, yeah, you can just do whatever the fuck you want and then just paint it. Because you don't have to worry about hand drawing it to make sense.
Right.
It's true.
But the toys, man, the toys, no models.
Yeah, exactly. You got a one-stop shop. You just make the 3D model and then 3D print it.
I wonder what the gunpla for this would be like, because it has to have a real like weird ass arm, and do you think they'll include a cloak in the box?
Oh, they have to.
Yeah, like a little piece of fabric and then like little bandages you have to wrap around.
Oh, that'll never hang right, though. It'll be plastic. Molded plastic. It's
Yeah,
slightly
no.
bendy, moldy plastic they use for things.
Yeah, you're right, which will be lame, but because what you do is you just put a fan next to it and have it go 24/7 365 so the cape's always flapping.
I mean, that should be built in, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, all that being said, it has caught my eye enough that I'll definitely give it a watch for sure. I personally am not really I've never really had a problem with the CGI like mobile suits and Gundams. I think they've always looked and moved pretty good for the most part. It isn't like we're dealing with really early chunky CGI where they move around like that first season of Baki or anything like that. So
And I mean, if anything's going to be CGI, it should be robots, not humans.
Yeah.
yeah, oh, totally. Vehicles and robots and things.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this before. I'm always
Yeah.
cool with CGIing those. Like, if that means you
I
get to
do
actually
still-
hand animate people.
Yeah, I do still miss hand-drawn, hand-animated mecha, but, it's fine.
Yeah, me too. But if I had to make the compromise anywhere, it would be here rather than them just CGIing people and then everyone looks
Yeah.
all uncanny valley and shit.
Definitely. Yeah, like I said, when this was announced to be announced, it's going to be another Gundam series 2 years after the last one, which was 2 years after the last one. And surely there will be a brand new one 2 years after that for the 50th anniversary. So, yeah, just kind of feels less and less special the more frequently they come out.
Mm-mm.
Wait until that live action, though.
Oh god.
Also
that's
that.
still happening?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's
Yeah.
like happening for real.
Oh, no.
I'm pretty sure they wrapped filming, or at
Yeah,
least
they
they're
wrapped filming. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, no.
That's crazy. At the very least, even if it's really bad, hopefully it's the kind of really bad that's worth talking about.
Yeah.
True.
And I mean, even really bad live action adaptations get more people interested in the source material. And in the case of, say, Dragon Ball Evolution, that's what made Toriyama return to Dragon Ball and create everything subsequently. So, you never
True.
know. Could be a silver lining.
Tomino just like horrified by what he sees. All right, I'll get back to it.
Yeah. And that's okay, Tomino. Yeah. We already know you're fucking insane and everything you make will be insane.
Yeah.
Just fueled by the sheer disrespect.
Yeah. That's how Toriyama was. So. We shall see. Yeah, and like again, since the 50th anniversary is coming up, if they want to like churn them out super fast until then, sure, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I would rather have like a universe exist for more than what was the last one, 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens. 2027. Gundam Alex Zero. Still don't understand how that is spelled and pronounced that way.
They're just
and yeah, RG
Turning into
Project
Square
is-
Enix, so.
Yeah, exactly. RG Project is the official name of the all-encompassing, the anime and video game and whatnot. Yeah. Next piece of news. You may remember last year we talked about some fun AI dubs that Amazon was doing. Really, it was just Amazon Tech Bros experimenting with their AI and dubbing things that they didn't have the license to dub. Just to be like, yeah, we have the technology. What are licenses? Because they didn't actually communicate with not only the owners, but the team at Amazon behind content at all. So that made a lot of people upset. They did it with a lot of other things in a lot of other languages, but English dubs of anime is a thing that English-speaking people actually care about, which is why it blew up. So anyway, that got taken down. The show eventually got taken off of Amazon entirely. They just let their license expire. But Anime Limited, also known as All the Anime in the UK, picked it up for UK, North America, and France. They have it streaming on Netflix. They've commissioned a new actual human dub for it, and will be released on Blu-ray in all of those territories with that new dub.
Good on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the least they can do, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, kind of like what we were just talking about with the silver lining of a terrible live-action adaptation. Probably if the AI dub debacle didn't happen, people would just let Banana Fish die. But it kind of got a lot more attention from that controversy. So that might actually be the reason this happened.
Glass half full, baby.
Yep.
That's what we like to see.
Such a strange story with that whole thing. It's like this super old manga. We're gonna make it an anime.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Oh, so weird.
And then, 8 years after the anime, which is like 20, 30 years after the manga, they're like, oh, let's try this AI dub. And then a few months later, let's give it a real release. Very interesting franchise. Speaking of Netflix and franchises with very bizarre licensing history, the new Gintama movie from this year, Yoshiwara in Flames, is going to be released on Netflix later this month. So that's exciting. No Gintama piece of media can exist under the same licensing structure as any other one that has ever existed. So it makes sense that it's time for Netflix. But I'm just
maybe
glad
now it'll catch on fire in the US.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that despite it continuing to fail, people keep licensing it so that I can watch it.
True.
I would like to
So
see
where
it in
does this movie
theaters and
sit?
on Blu-ray.
Where does this movie sit for? Again, it's like it's a part of the story, or is it like a spin-off thingy, or
that's another thing.
It's like, could you watch this standalone without much other knowledge of Gintama, or is this one's for the fans?
Yeah, it's kind of for the fans. So this is also another thing about Gintama. Every movie is a different kind of movie. So they got the compilation movie out of the way with the first one. Then they got the Shonen Jump spin-off movie out of the way with the second one. Then they got the actually adapt the next arc of the manga out of the way with the third one. And then this is go back and remake an arc that was adapted into the anime with just brand new production. So this is just an arc from the original series.
It's like the Gintama.
It's the Gintama. I would be shocked if
they're gonna make that joke. Yeah, they're gonna make that joke. Now is the time to make that joke.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's one of the arcs where Gintama started to like actually get serious and tell a serious shonen arc that's better than most other shonen arcs in other series that are trying to be serious all the time. But it expects you to have followed the story up to that point, but it might not be impossible to follow if you're just seeing it fresh.
yeah, definitely gonna give it a watch. I mean, I haven't watched the original in over a decade, so should be fun.
Oh, like riding a bike.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say it hasn't been that long for me because it was one of the first anime that I watched with Caitlin. Except that was also a decade ago, so never mind.
Damn.
Oof.
Like that wasn't that long time.
Yeah.
What year is it?
But yeah, look forward to hearing more about that on our Best of 2026 episode.
Wahoo!
And then the other convention that happened was Otakon, and that is the convention that Discotek has their big panel where they announce all their stuff pretty much for the year at this point. I don't think they've had like one of their live streams this year, maybe January. But at the very least, they'll announce a lot of stuff at Otakon. So I'm just going to list them off, then we can talk about whatever we're interested in within that. So they are releasing Lupin the Third, Zenigata, and the Two Lupins, which is actually the fourth of the five Takashi Koike Lupin the Third, spelled Roman numerals and then RD sub-series. You could consider it the fifth of six if you consider Fujiko Mine to be actually the first part of that. But the one's branded that way. It's the fourth of five. And the fifth part was The Immortal Bloodline, which was the film that ended that sub-series, which G-Kids got the rights to and released in theaters already, and maybe Blu-ray already. Not maybe realizing that this was kind of a necessary bridge between the previous parts that Discotek had released and that movie. So now it is going to be available on Blu-ray. It was already released on maybe Prime Video a few months after the film was released. So still not the right order, but it's been available. But yeah, so they got that to add to their Koike Lupin the Third collection, even though they don't have the final piece of it. They also licensed Rescued Toradora, which has been out of print for a long time, since NIS America has not been interested in doing anime for a long time, and they were the last ones to have the rights to it. So they're re-releasing that on Blu-ray. They're also finally releasing Lupin the Third Part 2 on Blu-ray. Granted, it will be SD on Blu-ray, unlike the other parts, because it's only Blu-ray remaster looks awful, so they're better off just presenting it in SD. And so it's going to be all 155 episodes in one 4-disc set, because you can pack a lot of SD episodes on a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I always love that when those happen.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is 4 discs, and it's 155 episodes, and it just blows my mind.
Yeah, 40 episodes on a disc, just straight through. Also, Digimon Frontier, the fourth Digimon series. They actually haven't even released the Japanese version of Tamers yet. I don't even know if the English version has come out yet, but it was solicited a few months back. And they are following it up quickly with Frontier in English in October, and eventually the Japanese versions of both will follow. Another license rescue, another SDBD, is Pony Pony Dash, old Shaft show. Tales of the Abyss in native HD on Blu-ray.
That was garbage. I don't know why they're bothering.
I mean, they just like to license stuff that's available.
I
Some will love
know.
It's certainly not the
that
worst
not
thing.
being good.
Yeah. So, not too long ago, they announced and very recently released the first Pat Labor anime, the original OVA series, sometimes called The Early Days. And then at this panel, they went ahead and announced the entire rest of the franchise, all being released on Blu-ray this year. So that is the TV series, all 47 episodes in one set. The follow-up OVA series to that, the New Files, and then the movie trilogy, all 3 of them on one Blu-ray set, including the 3 mini Pato shorts. That one has had a 4K release in Japan, and they didn't mention anything about 4K, so we'll wait to see on that. I'm hopeful, but they only mentioned Blu-ray so far. But they said it will be a major improvement over the Sentai, or I guess technically Made in Japan release. So we'll see what more details come out about that. They also licensed Rescued The Big O, be releasing that complete series, both seasons on Blu-ray. Digimon Movies Collection 3. So this is the Digimon Frontier movie, including its long-lost English dub, the Digimon Savers movie, First time that's been on video in the US, and the Digimon X Evolution CG special, which has never been released anywhere since it was like shown on Japanese TV 20 years ago.
Random.
Yeah, and they confirmed that it will look rough. So
Yeah.
They also licensed rescued Mawaru Penguin Drum. So they're putting out a proper Blu-ray of that. They had a lot to say about Sentai's Blu-ray releases not being very good. So that will be that. They are also re-releasing their very comprehensive release of Memories, this time on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. And Samurai Pizza Cats has a new HD Blu-ray release. I think the idea is there was an HD release of the actual Japanese source, but they didn't think anyone would be insane enough to actually cut it up to match the Samurai Pizza Cats dub. And they didn't do it. They tried to at first, and they were like, we're not even that crazy. But the Japanese side did it for them. So it's coming.
That's an awesome.
Also, they got a few Sunrise titles that I think some of them were licensed by Sentai after Bandai went under, but then Sentai never actually released them. So they've got Infinite Rivius on Blu-ray and HD, and Argento Soma on Blu-ray and SD, both coming out this year. They also got Outlanders, which will be on Blu-ray remastered with AstroRes, and in addition to Japanese, will include both English dubs, one of them starring Trish Ledoux, who is not an actress, and then some live-action stuff. So yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, talk about it. Samurai Pizza Cats, though, that's my shit.
That's an insane pull.
I had that on a VHS.
Yeah, they've had that. I mean, they've had that the license for that stuff for a while. It's
yeah, they've released it. SD.
The crazy part is that it's like, oh my god, there's actually going to be a Blu-ray edition of that. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and all the English titling for it was completely recreated. Again, not by them. They just recreated all those assets.
I can't believe that. That's the insane part. It's like, what? What?
Yeah.
Why? And they're like, so okay.
If it was them who did it, we'd all be like, yeah, that makes sense. But the fact that it was anyone but them who did it is amazing.
Yeah, it's got me hype, if only for pure nostalgia of it. Like, that was one of the couple of VHSs that my brother and I had when we were kids, and we played that shit till it was worn out. If only because when the Samurai Pizza Cats go into battle, their pizza restaurant, if I remember, turns into a gun, and then they get shot out of it. They get shot. It's a revolver, if I remember too, and they do that whole giant robot thing where you go down a slide and you end up in the cockpit of the piece of the robot that you're doing, like a Power Ranger Super Sentai thing. They slide into the chambers of this revolver, and then the hammer cocks back and it fires them across the galaxy, essentially. It's so cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's so fucking cool. So I know they had the SD BD for a little, but now that it's like it's going super crazy hard on it, I may have to pick it up just to cash in on those childhood memories. And same, granted, the quality is much higher, but the Lupin Part 2, because I think that was the Adult Swim one and the first one I'd ever seen, if I'm remembering correctly, and probably the first a lot of people saw between that or Castle of Cagliostro. Were probably the two that got people into it, because Adult Swim or Hayao Miyazaki. And I think that's I don't know if I've seen anywhere close to every episode of Part 2 as well, because it was only just on Adult Swim, and I don't think they ever played those in any order whatsoever.
And a bunch of it has never been dubbed, so they definitely didn't play those ones. So I'm looking forward to finally just going through and watching it all in order.
Okay, so I had to do a little bit digging into the Samurai Pizza Cats thing. Apparently, the original creator really liked the English dub of the show.
Nice.
So that's the impetus here, I'm sure, is that yeah.
Well, the dub, and granted, this is little kid version of me talking, but I don't recall the dub being bad. It's just I don't know what the tone of the original anime was supposed to be, so the dub is very much Saturday morning cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
But like in a good way, like a pretty well produced Saturday morning cartoon thing. Like the character voices are very unique and funny. There's lots of variety in there.
Yeah, it was one of those situations where they couldn't get a accurate translation of the material available, so they just said, "Oh hell, we'll just make the shit up as we think that stuff is going on." Like I think they had a rough idea, and then we're just like, and just made it up. So, as you do. So,
I mean, yeah, almost every Golden Harvest Kung Fu movie was like that. So. But yeah, those two definitely piqued my interest the most. I chuckled when you said the Digimon one, the Evolution X CGI, because the second you said CGI, I'm like, oh, so it's garbage then.
And they literally said, it's garbage.
But for the sheer pursuit of completionism, we will give it to you.
Exactly. And yeah, available the first time anywhere in 20 years. So, exciting.
I forget how big Digimon is sometimes. It's because it's so overshadowed by Pokemon over here.
Yeah.
Most of the time. But they've had TV show and like animes for 20 plus years, and they're still making them. There's tons of video games that we get over here too. Like, was it Cyber Sleuth and a bunch of others of like varying genres that I don't know if the games are really all that great, but I know Digimon fans like them.
People seem to like the games. I haven't actually played any of them, so
it's funny as I'm scrolling through this ANN article that recapped everything they announced. Literally right next to the Digimon announcement is a Digimon announcement that there will be a new Digimon anime next year.
Man, oh man!
And I think the current series is currently running still, so it's like Gundam. New one every year.
Yeah. I really want to know then, like the numbers that Digimon does against Pokemon, I guess, if only because it's got to be successful enough. They keep making this shit, and if they weren't making money, they wouldn't make all this shit. So I wonder just how, like, vast the chasm is between them, because maybe I'm just underestimating how popular it is, and it's not that far apart. Like close, the gap between them is closer than you would think, perhaps. At least over in Japan. Over here, obviously, different story. But
I don't think they're close, but you don't have to be close to Pokemon to be profitable.
True. And that's kind of what I meant. I was like, it could still be a pretty wide gap, but it's still closer than you would think, as in, like, it's not getting stomped into the absolute ground, and like for every 100,000 Pokemon games sold, 10 Digimon games are sold. Like, I'm just curious as to what those numbers look like given the sheer output.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the priorities of the franchises are somewhat different. So yeah, I don't know that they're obviously they have a lot in common, but they're not necessarily always competing directly with each other.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know it feels over here sometimes like the Digimon games are meant for a slightly older demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that feels like that with the show. Like, Pokemon seems to skew very young.
Yeah.
At least the TV shows do.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
I'd say the games do as well.
Yeah, and
that's just not who buys them.
Yeah, exactly. So, Digimon always was like the tween teen set than the kid set.
Yeah, you go to elementary school for Pokemon and middle school for Digimon.
Yep.
Digimon's for adolescents, okay. Nuts. I wonder, after all these shows and movies and stuff, if there are any still, like, of the OG Digimon still around. like how I don't know if they've had their own version of like all these different generations, or if it's just because the whole point of Digimon, from what I remember, is it was all about the different types of evolutions that you could do eventually, and not so much the sheer variety. It was it wasn't look at the 150 Digimon, it'd be like there's 70 Digimon, but they can each evolve in like 6 different ways.
Right, and it was like, okay, you have standard Pokemon evolutions the first time around, and then the second time they can fuse, they can do fusion dance, and then the third time around they're Avas, and then the fourth time around you're the Digimon.
Yeah. Basically. They you're not gonna see too many Pokemon with guns, but like Digimon.
It's called Power World.
Yeah, well, I mean, unless you're Pal World, but yeah, your Digimon turn into like buff dudes at like 4th or 5th evolution, holding giant weapons. So yeah,
or
like,
Gundams,
or Gundams sometimes. Yeah. So
Digimon is very pro 2A up in here.
Wait, my cat Digimon just transformed into Hatsune Miku?
Yeah, my adorable cat just turned into something that caused an awakening in me. I'm now a furry. I found a new community.
Oh, that's right too, because they could always digivolve back, which is another thing.
Yeah.
So then you could just change what that thing turned into based off of like the context of the situation, which added a fun little element to it as well. Huh. Well, good on them for keeping at it.
Anything else
I think that's
it.
I think that's it for me for the Discotek stuff, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all the news I had then.
Cool. Well, some good stuff there, especially for the physical release side. I know we're careening more and more towards a no physical media future, so it's nice that, anime, at least for the small pockets of people like Discotek and stuff, will just keep on trucking and putting stuff out.
I'll give a small update on that as well, because, previously they'd always be like, yeah, you can get them at various anime retailers, and of course, Crunchyroll Store was the Right Stuff replacement at the time. But now, of course, that's going away, and Justin's trying to make his Media OCD store be like the new Right Stuff and get other publishers on board and stuff. Obviously, a tiny fraction of what Right Stuff was, especially since it's only anime and no books. But they mentioned during the stream, like, Media OCD is now the preferred retailer for Discotek, and within minutes, the site had crashed. And then I think maybe today or yesterday, they announced that it was their, biggest sales ever these past few days because of all the announcements and, all the stuff pretty much went up on pre-order immediately. So, yeah, good to see that happening. Good to see that the website recovered eventually. Yeah, we deserve a place to buy physical media.
Mm-hmm. And man, there is no group of consumers with more fucking whales in it than boutique old shit Blu-ray collectors.
And like the Venn diagram between that and anime fans, when you get the middle of that, whew, you are golden.
Yeah, they will spend any amount of money for anything.
And like when Kate was like, "Oh, that was a bad Tales anime or whatever," they have fucking Master of Martial Arts flying off the shelves.
I know. They have stuff that's so much worse than that. It's just, and it's a Tales property, so of course it'll sell to some people. So
that's what I've learned about physical media collectors, boutique physical media collectors, whether it's anime or otherwise, is they love really, really good shit and really, really bad shit.
True.
For every Criteria collection, there is a Vinegar Syndrome.
Exactly.
So,
and Discotek's kind of both. And I guess the broader Media OCD Discotek / Anime Go now.
Yeah, if anything, they're kind of more like, I guess you could say, like the Kino Lorber to do another one, because Kino Lorber's got good and terrible shit in their catalog.
I don't know how each of these boutique publishers compare. I know some of them, my friend's always talking about his terrible B movies that get like the stellar Criterion treatment from these publishers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's very much in line with them, whether they license a masterpiece or a piece of garbage, a masterpiece of garbage, if you will. It's going to be just as carefully handled. So yeah, that's their thing.
Yeah, it's good to see that they will certainly have their hands full with sales, and that can lead to more and greater endeavors from them for sure.
Yeah, he specifically, Justin said in the tweet, like, the sales from this weekend directly allow me to license more stuff now.
Sick. I'll have to peruse their wares then as well. It's been a while since I purchased any like anime on disc period in the first place, so maybe now's as good a time as any for the most part. I know they've had some stuff I've looked at before and just either forgot to purchase straight up, or something else got in the way, because I always have a enormous list of to watch things, so sometimes buying extra things gives me a pang of guilt, but I can say that this is for a cause.
Exactly. I'm hoping like the 50% off everything Black Friday sale that Justin did last year will become an annual thing, and maybe he'll be able to have more sales more frequently. Because I suspect, Kane, that when you go on their site and see everything at almost MSRP, you're going to cringe a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, that was probably part of it.
Yeah.
Because if I remember, was Media OCD the one that had the that cycling anime that I wanted?
Yeah, Nasu.
Yeah, Nasu, and then
Anime
it was like for like a 40-minute OVA, it was like $60 or something. I was like, oh, buddy, whew. But that do be how it is sometimes. Yeah, and now it's for a cause. All right, if that's everything for the news, we can shift gears a little bit and talk about some new anime. And we've certainly got a season on our hands here. We've got some real bangers, a couple surprise hits. If anything, a good variety of quality stuff to watch this season. So I'm excited to talk about it a little bit. And the first thing that I want to sort of visit is an anime that there was a lot of hype behind. And before we started recording tonight, I was mentioning to the group here how I thought I'd be on one side of the fence of this argument, but I'm actually on the other, which I can't remember the last time that happened in particular. But we're going to talk a little bit about the new Ghost in the Shell. So, super hyped.
The Ghost in the Shell. The new Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Science Saru made it. It looks phenomenal. Much more faith I actually have sitting next to me on my bookshelf here, in them big ass hardcovers from before.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, at this point, the anime is not really like hitting me as much as I thought it would. And I'll pass it over to Kestrel in a moment, because I'm sure he'll have kind of a little bit more to say about it, or I expect him to. But for me, the real reason, I think, is just and Emily, when we were watching it together, feels the same way. It's like, it feels very, I don't know, like disjointed in its storytelling, and maybe it's because it translates like in manga form better, where I can reread panels and liner notes and things and go back pages to like remember what's going on. But when I see it animated on the page, even when I'm paying like 100% like attention and I remember the manga, there's still parts where I'm like, what the fuck is happening like right now? And does this mean anything to the story? Is this important what's happening? Who's that? What's going on here? It just throws you so far into the deep end with the anime that you don't have any time to like breathe and kind of collect yourself. And then when you do, it's because they're going into like some really expositionally dense dialogue for what is going on. And that sometimes feels like the only times where I'm like, okay, at least there's not like explosions in action, but now I have to digest everything that's going on here. On the plus side, the Tachikoma's back, and they kick ass as
they're Fuchikomas.
They're Fuchikomas. Sorry, I've been interchanging them because I've been
Yeah.
watching some videos about the Ghost in the Shell video games as well. Because I know there's been a bunch of those, and they switch if they're Fuchi or Tachi komas depending on like what game it is. But yeah, the Fuchikomas are back, and they rule, as do the crows for their 3 seconds of screen time. But yeah, there's a lot to like about the show, and 4 of us are watching it. 2 of us love it, the other 2 not so much. Now, it's not like a D level show or anything, to be clear. But yeah, Kestrel, I know that you had dropped it as well with a B-, which is not the worst grade in the world, especially for a dropped show. But I wanted to get your take on it. As well, before we get fucking donked on by Bran and Mark. So.
It's going to be so much anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Kane, it is a B-. 2 years ago, I would still be watching this. I would be watching 20, 25 shows probably because these seasons are just so good. But I've been trying to scale back and watch much less. So that is why the barrier of entry just gets a little bit higher, and this just didn't quite make the cut. I will say it's the best new Ghost in the Shell anime in 20 years. Because
not a high bar to clear.
Yeah, exactly. Arise was disappointing. SAC 2045 was a sack of shit. Even though that was, the Standalone Complex universe by Kenji Kamiyama again, and Standalone Complex is definitely my Ghost in the Shell. But, I can't remember if we were recording last time or not when we were talking about what we expected the reaction to be, and I guess this was 2 episodes ago, before it had started airing. But knowing that it would follow the manga very closely, and that was not at all what any of the Production IG adaptations had done. And basically, Oshii had a very Oshii take on it, which is characteristically very much unlike the source material, very much like a Stanley Kubrick adaptation. And so he made it his own, and it was very successful and very acclaimed, and Production IG was like, let's just kind of keep it in this vein then. That seems like a good idea. And I would say largely it was. And I don't necessarily need Masamune Shiro's original take on it. It might have worked better in the 80s. It might work better in manga. It's, very accurate to that, but something about the aesthetic without the amount of detail that Masamune can put in artwork on a page in panels, having to be animatable, it just kind of looks flat, and I don't really dig it. And yeah, I mean, it is quirky and weird, and that's what the series originally was. But, I think it makes sense that Oshii took it the direction that he did because there was so much of the philosophy that he loves to dig into. And it feels a little more cohesive when everything kind of lines up aesthetically and tonally with that kind of cyberpunk storytelling and existential philosophy. So I've generally liked the approach that Production IG has taken, and it just feels a little weird. And maybe if I didn't have the bias of decades of more serious takes on Ghost in the Shell, then I would have a slightly softer approach to it. I certainly try to approach it with the understanding that it's going to be very different and very much what the manga was and not what the anime has been. But just didn't quite work for me well enough to want to continue watching it every week. Yeah, so I don't think I have anything terribly offensive to say about it. It's just the last 2 Ghost in the Shell.
Whoa.
We lost Kestrel.
Oh no.
Oh, you're back. Okay. We lost you at the last Ghost in the Shell, and then you trailed off into oblivion.
Okay, yeah. I was saying the last two Ghost in the Shells weren't my Ghost in the Shell either, and that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm in agreement with you too. Before we pass it over to the execution squad,
I mean,
it does work
Before the prosecution rests its case.
Yeah, it does work for me a lot better as a manga, and I think it is because it's all tonally the same, and you can take your time and really kind of soak it in, read, reread, get yourself together, and that just doesn't flow as easily when it's like, well, now I gotta rewind and look again, maybe occasionally like pause. I've had to pause and be like, all right, so this is what's happening and this is what's going on. And then Emily was the same way, 'cause she was like, what the fuck is happening? So we'd have to kind of do that, and that obviously just never flows as well in an animated or motion picture type thing when compared to a book where it's made to do that. It's made to go at your own pace. So
there's also just like tiny blurry footnotes of fine text on the screen all the time that is impossible to pay attention to or read and is not subtitled, which is awesome. Very helpful.
Yeah, you gotta hold your Google Translate up to it on a pause screen.
Sometimes it is translated, but like obviously Japanese can say a lot more in a small space than English can, so like it flips through really quickly on the English subtitles,
which is not helpful.
No.
And it's while they're spitting out all this techno babble as well, so it's like, all right, you got to pay attention to those subtitles. And what the fuck's it saying over? Oh, it's gone. Never mind.
I've just accepted that it's basically just flavor text for the for like what's going on screen, and just like, yeah, I'm not gonna get that.
Yeah.
Well, I've stowed my handgun. You will not be being blasted, as there's not too many offensive opinions going on, but you got to weigh this.
Speak for yourself now.
Yeah. Mark's like, oh, we're putting them away. Puts executioner's axe behind his back. I feel so. I completely understand that, like, the decades of stylistic adaptations for Ghost in the Shell has kind of made this one kind of like a harder pill to swallow, because I too am a huge standalone complex fan. I love the first two films. I honestly think the second one, Innocence, is like super mad underrated. I feel like no one ever talks about the second movie, but I think I'm the opposite of you, Kestrel, where there's been enough of the serious takes that I was like very much looking forward to something on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And that's why I think I've been enjoying this one so much, especially because I just think Science Sorrow is just like maximalizing the presentation of, the specific way that they are adapting this to be like retro. And I kind of love it for that. In regard to it kind of like feeling or like looking flat in some senses, I think that also allows it to be just like the effects on the other end of that, just like maximalized with like lighting and the colors and stuff like that. So I don't know, this, to me, it's just like checking all the boxes of like dopamine hit for just like visual and presentation wise. And I do agree that following the actual story beats is sometimes like, I think I missed something, and then I go back and I'm like, okay, wait, no. They're just kind of going all over the place with it. But I've kind of just like resigned myself to not care too much about any kind of like overarching, like, I'm not thinking about like, oh, how is the Laughing Man plot going to like really be put into this, or like how are the overarching things coming together. I'm almost taking it as like vignettes or presented how it might be based on when the original came out. Like if this came out around when the manga was written, it would probably just be like some quirky OVA that's super disjointed and none of the episodes really connect super well. But that's just kind of how I'm taking it, and I think enjoying it much more for that reason.
think my one small note on that is just it just looks so 2026 digital on top of the very 80s manga art style. Like if this was cell animation with film grain and shit, then I might be able to swallow it a little bit more. But it's like those 80s designs with paint tool applied, and I'm like, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so it's funny because I kind of like you were saying, Brandon, everything that Kestrel said, I totally understand and I jive with, except that I go on the complete like everything that he's like, I have these problems with it. I'm like, this is why I love it. Which is so it's funny. I do think part of why I'm jiving with it so well is one of my first anime when I knew I was watching anime, because I grew up with things like Voltron and Battle of the Planets and stuff that I knew was Japanese, but that didn't really mean anything to me. Other than oh, it's just a cartoon from Japan, or whatever. One of the first anime that I watched when I was like, okay, I'm actually watching something distinct was Dominion Tank Police. Which that is very other than it's a prequel to Shiro's manga. It is very faithful in terms of tone and approach and things like that. And it's always been an anime that's been very near and dear to me. And so, as a longtime fan of the Ghost in the Shell manga, I've always appreciated his approach to things. And so getting to kind of see that animated, it's almost like I'm kind of going back in time a little bit, going back to my childhood a little bit. I'm sort of reliving that what I had with Dominion Tank Police 30 years ago, which I think is really cool. And I say this as somebody who, like you were saying before, like I really appreciate what Mamoru Oshii did with the first movie. Standalone Complex to me is one of the best anime that's ever been made. But I love that we're getting sort of that original vision. I haven't really been having a hard time following the plot on this one. I feel like it's been pretty good. I'll say no spoilers, but if you are having trouble with this one, if they do I don't know how far they're going, but if they do Ghost in the Shell 2.0, you might want to stay away from that one. Because there's when it comes to cyberpunk, I always say there's cyberpunk with a capital C. There's cyberpunk that's just all lowercase, and then there's cyberpunk where every letter is capital. And I think this one is cyberpunk with a capital C. If they do 1.5, that's just cyberpunk all lowercase. But if they do 2.0, that is cyberpunk all capital letters, where it is just insanity and technobabble from the start to the end. And I've read that manga a few times, and every single time I get to the end of it and I'm like, I have no idea what the hell I just read. So I good luck with that one is all I'm gonna say if they get to it. But for this one, it's I do think that for me, part of it is that there's a nostalgia kick to it, that I really appreciate. And like Bran was saying, like it's just kind of nice to get something a little bit different. I'm totally cool with that. And one of the things I find really interesting is that what makes this tonally different than the other ones is weirdly the major. Like,
Yeah.
like she's super serious, particularly in the Oshii film.
Yeah.
But kind of follows on along from that, and so all of the series kind of take their tone from her personality, and so she is super serious in Oshii's film, and so is the film. She lightens up a little bit in Standalone Complex. She can have a little bit of fun, but she's still very dedicated, very driven, and so therefore so is the story. This one, she's a bit more flippant. She's a lot lot more flippant. She is obviously loves to have a lot of fun. She doesn't take a ton of things seriously. Like, she's good at her job, but she's kind of arrogant. And that's kind of the tone of the series, and I really enjoy it. But what's really been interesting, like these past two episodes, the one that aired today and then last week's episode, she's been, I don't want to say sidelined, but we've been sort of focusing on some of the other characters a little bit more. Bato and Togusa last week, and Bato again this week, along with Ishikawa. And with her out of the way, it's kind of more serious. and as somebody who watches and loves the other ones, like, that's so weird to think that it was like, hey, we got rid of the major and now we can kind of focus and pay attention and get our job done. Which is sort of weird. And so, yeah, like kind of like, as I said, as Brand said, like, it's just, to me, kind of fun to have something a little bit different. And as I said, I think for me, there's kind of a nostalgia factor to it, since Shiro's work is kind of like at the root of my anime fandom overall. So
I'm glad you brought up the way the tone connects to the major's presentation, because I had that exact moment watching the fourth episode where I kind of didn't even realize it until near the end of the episode. I was like, wait, the major wasn't in this episode for the most part, and it felt a little pretty different from what the usual tone is. So.
It almost felt like, quote unquote, classic Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting.
Since you mentioned the 1.5 and 2 and all that, remember a few episodes ago when I was going through the Evangelion stuff and you were like, I hate everything you just said? Well, Ghost in the Shell is no more innocent, get it? Of that than Evangelion. Because, yes, there is a Ghost in the Shell 1.5, which is the chapters that were left out of Ghost in the Shell 2 Man-Machine Interface, not to be confused with Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, the movie, not to be confused with Ghost in the Shell 2.0, which is a re-release of the original Ghost in the Shell 1995 film with a bunch of like CG and shit added.
What?
Yeah, I did call it 2.0.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I do apologize. I did call that Ghost in the Shell 2.0, and I know that's not 2.0, but yeah.
Too late. Your opinion is entirely invalidated.
Yeah, you are not incorrect. Nobody ever accused Jiro of being straightforward and ever finishing his work. That too. Although Ghost in the Shell, I guess he did kind of finish, but I remember when I finally got an opportunity to pick up the Dominion Tank Police manga, I was so excited for it, Dominion. And then it was like, I read everything there was, and it's like, that's it. It's like, cool, thanks. Although I will say, as a Dominion Tank Police fan, I loved that the Cat Sisters had a brief cameo in this week's episode of Ghost in the Shell. So there we go.
Okay, but you guys have to agree that the opening and ending themes slap, right? Those are pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're no standalone complex, but yeah, they're all right.
Well, yeah, that's fair. I still hum the vocal melody from Standalone Complex to this day. So
One.
The from Inner Universe. Yeah.
If you get a chance to see Yoko Kanno live at any point, do so. That's all I'm gonna say.
I will. Yeah. That's some bucket list shit.
The openings for both Standalone Complex and Second Gig are phenomenal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rise from Second Gig is my favorite, but Inner Universe is also phenomenal, and I have a new appreciation for it now.
Yeah, Origa's vocal is just like heavenly.
Yep.
I like Kestrel hit you with the, yeah, they Best he could do.
Yeah.
I'm
Who
I
was the
am
one that
glad-
got dunked on here?
No, I'm glad that this adaptation finally exists. Definitely glad that it exists because it has deserved to exist for decades.
Yeah.
I don't need it to be my thing.
It is interesting how things might differ if we lived in a world where the faithful adaptation happened first and then like the Oshi type adaptation came later. It'd be interesting.
Well, it's and I'm reviewed. This is one of the shows I'm reviewing this season, and so I did in the first episode did a big write up about it, and I compared it to Tim Burton's Batman. About how he used Dark Knight Returns and Killing Joke as kind of like his can't think of the word I'm looking for here. Not necessarily his source material, but it was, like he kind of borrowed that tone. I mean, he's sort of a dark and weird director as it is. Inspiration. There we go. Yeah, thank you. And it really kind of changed the entire perspective of Batman on a mainstream level. Because Dark Knight Returns and Killing Joke were not they were sort of offshoots of what Batman was in the comics, and the public perception was a little more closer to that. And then the Burton film comes out, and it's so good, and it's such a phenomenon that everything that we've had since Batman, including in the comics, has just been like, well, this is Batman now. And that's kind of how Ghost in the Shell is. The Oshii film came out and it was so good, and that's what really vaulted it into the mainstream. And so, well, now that's what Ghost in the Shell is. And so, now trying to go back to sort of the original vision, and I've had a lot of conversations with people like these. The conversation we're having here. This isn't sort of the first time I've had this. Like there are a lot of people that are just like, well, this isn't Ghost in the Shell. Well, it is, but I get what you're saying.
It is literally the Ghost in the Shell.
It is literally the Ghost in the Shell. Yeah,
I've seen a Ghost in the Shell, but this is the Ghost in the Shell. I've seen several ghosts in several shells. Yeah, no, I agree, and obviously Batman has had 85 plus years, so it's been through that cycle back and forth a lot of times, where it was very dark to start with, and then the 1960s TV series made the public perception very lighthearted, and that in conjunction with the comics code influenced the comics, and then Tim Burton and Batman the Animated Series brought it back to its darker roots, following Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns and The Killing Joke by Alan Moore, as you said. And then that created that new public perception, and then the Schumacher films started making it goofy and campy again, and then Nolan brought it back to the dark side, and yeah.
Well, the Schumacher films were kind of like trying to be campy and goofy while also being dark and weird, and it was like
they were trying to be sequels to Burton's films,
right?
But being super weird and gay.
Yeah. And now,
meanwhile, the animated series was just there, being like, "We found the perfect middle ground. Look at us."
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
but as vanilla as it gets, in a good way,
and continued to greatly influence the comics as well.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I think we got that out of our system, so we can move on to talking about a show that I think is going to be universally agreed as being the anime of the year. Let's talk about how Grand Blue's back, baby.
I was like, wait, where's he going with this?
Back. Yeah.
It's we're only talking about the funniest fucking thing since Uramichi Oni-san up in here. And season 3 is back and better than ever. I know season 2 didn't quite hit for me as much as I wanted it to, but I mean, in the first couple episodes of season 3, we already got Kohei wearing a "I am the real Nissan" banner to Iori's house, which might be one of the most socially inept, depraved things you could possibly do, and just some of the other like my favorite jokes of the entire show have been like within this little arc of episodes.
Mhm.
So I wanted to start off the conversation actually by asking everyone, we can go one at a time around the room here, what has been your favorite joke of the season? Like, what has made you laugh the most or have to pause or anything like that? Milk coming out of nostrils, anything of that nature. I want to start with Mark.
Honestly, I think my favorite part of this season so far, randomly, has been the way that the opening credits have used the black dot gag.
Yeah.
Which I think has been great. But no, this is well, no. I'll wait till everybody goes around the table before I continue. Go ahead.
Brian, how about you?
Well, I was gonna say, I think the ED is equally as funny too. I think they kind of smashed it on both ends of
Agreed.
the credits. I will say I think this season came out swinging really well because I loved the first gag where they were doing like the group presentation and they were all just like, who deserves to be a virgin and who doesn't? That was just like, I love that core group of the boys all just like needing to tear each other down. It was just like such a strong start.
Yeah, it turned into Lord of the Flies real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas just what's his name? I think Shinichiro, I believe, was they all just picked him right away and why he's a virgin, and then just proceeded to crush him. Yeah, I agree that whole group of friends is nuts because they exist to tear each other down ruthlessly, constantly, but yet always hang out.
Yeah, I will say a close second, and it's a tried and true gag, but when they got the German guys to drink their quote unquote water,
Oh yeah,
just like classic Grand Blue.
yeah, they're 90% Everclear,
96%.
96%.
96%.
Yeah, it's
And that is real stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Spiritus. It is real stuff.
Yeah, that was good too. A nice little callback / introduction of that gag for this whole thing because you were just waiting for it to show up because these boys ain't lightweights out there.
No.
So, Kestrel, how about you?
Yeah, I was definitely going to say also the first episode with the boys and their fight about who deserves to be a virgin, who deserves to die, etc. I think that was the only episode where I was like actively laughing out loud, and just remembering back to it is like making me laugh now. So yeah, it's definitely,
as stated, swinging out of the gate, and it's just been really good thus far. Period. I think mine is a little bit. It's just like a one-off, and it's a little bit more understated. But I had to pause because I almost spit out my coffee when I had it, which is when Kohei and Iori are sitting in the hot spring talking about how they're going to get his passport back from his sister and save her from the stalker. And Kohei, just to Iori's face, talks about how then his sister will have sex with him afterwards. And then Iori just goes, I can't believe you'd say that to my face. And then Kohei just responds, well, that's how it would happen. And then the conversation just continues. Like, there's no recourse from it. There's absolutely no recourse. I'm like, this guy just talked about how your sister would just throw herself all over him, and not only that, but then he would replace you as her brother, which adds a whole other element. And all you could say is just be like, "Wow, that's fucked up, bro," and then just continue the conversation.
Yeah,
absolutely. Love that whole thing.
Well, there's that, and in the same conversation, I think it's the same conversation, but right around there when he discovers the stalker, and he's talking about how everything that the stalker was doing, it's everything that just he's also doing. And he was hiding in the bushes, and he had a camera, and he was taking pictures, and it's showing us what's happening. And there's Kohei hiding in the bushes with taking pictures. And
I love how his audio is just him breathing really heavily the whole time. Yeah, it's
Good stuff.
so good. Yeah, it's definitely peak. And then the picture brand you posted, yeah, too. I've met people in my life who were like that. Were like, no, I won't travel because I'll miss the live anime on TV.
I gotta say, living in LA now, it's like anxiety inducing to make plans to go anywhere else because something's always happening here. And inevitably, if I book a flight somewhere else, then I'm missing something here. So I get it.
Damn. FOMO's real.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just been super enjoyable from beginning to end. So I do not regret dropping Red River to pick this back up. Not that I was not going to watch it, but there was a time where I'm like, where am I going to make this all fit? And then I was like, oh, well, this one can go. That's fine. And then I just put on Grand Blue and I'm like, I've made the correct choice.
Mm-hmm.
Drop that
very-
red
saying
for
you-
some
you-
blue.
You're saying, yeah, you chose the blue pill. I see.
Yeah, you chose
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you guys are all enjoying it as much as me because it's like between this or Witch in Mongolia, it's like these two are like carrying the season for me for two entirely different reasons. Like they could not be further apart, but it's just been so good. And I like that it has like an overarching plot with this whole like we got to go to Palau and third years making sure they're enjoying their summer and all this stuff, but it's so loose and it just kind of comes up whenever it needs to for a joke, so you can kind of like enjoy it for what it is and not have to be at rapt attention. So it was also a nice palate cleanser after watching an episode of Ghost in the Shell at the same time. Plus, yeah, the facial expressions are also, as always, very,
Amazing.
very good. Yep.
Yeah.
I
I know
say,
Kestrel has said over and over again that the manga is
you knew what I was going to say.
is the peak version of it because you can put so much more detail. But I mean, the anime is impressive for it as well with how many they try to stuff into an episode. Like anything from just normal drinking to like the "my daddy" line when they're looking at the fucked up clothes.
That was maybe the best line read so far of
Yes.
the season.
Yeah. My daddy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did love last season. I thought last season was better than first season, but I will
Same.
say that also as a manga reader, I feel like this is kind of the point in the manga where it really, really begins hitting its stride. And there's some really great stuff kind of coming up. I don't know that this season will get to the storyline I really want it to get to, but that's okay. Hopefully we'll get a fourth season and we should then. But the Palau arc is really good. Everything leading up to it has been, and I agree with you, Kane. Like everything has been on point with this show this season.
I do have to mention every time, as an adaptation, as a good 2026 anime series, it kind of looks like shit. Like, can we admit it kind of looks like shit?
Yeah.
I guess I just don't care though. Like I don't care at all for a comedy anime in a way. Like it doesn't have to look very good if the jokes are good. If the jokes are good, you can get away with a lot of shit being
I think
bad.
the one moment that it really like mattered to me this season so far is when they were diving. Occasionally they dive in the show. Who knew?
Yeah.
And
There's some diving in this drinking anime.
yeah, exactly. And they were seeing all the fish and sea turtles and stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, I can see how this would kind of change your life, seeing a view like this." And I could really buy that in the spread of the manga. In this, I was
Agreed.
kind of like, "Yeah, maybe not so much."
Yeah.
Well,
I was just gonna say it's unfortunate that the baseline quality of most anime nowadays is just high enough that like Grand Blue season 3 looking like Grand Blue season 1 doesn't do it any favors.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like how the Konosuba anime kind of stylistically looks like shit every season, even when it's completely different studios. And it's just a shit post of an anime, so it kind of fits. So I can kind of see a similar thought behind this. It's just being used to how beautifully drawn some of those moments that are supposed to be like life-changing was in the manga. Seeing it just kind of phoned in here hurts a little bit.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to say, because one of the reasons why I picked up Grand Blue originally is because I am a scuba diver,
Nice.
and so I was like, oh, scuba diving, I didn't know what I was getting into. I was just like, oh, scuba diving manga, this will be really cool, and it was just not for the reasons I thought it was going to be, but I think probably that's one of the things that is maybe hurting the anime for you, is that the manga is so beautiful in the scuba diving scenes, and so beautiful in a way that the anime is just never going to be able to match, like production values. There's just not enough money for that kind of production values. Because I remember going into the first season sort of thinking about that. I'm like, I can't wait to see these scenes, while a little voice in the back of my head is going, but it's not going to look as good. I already know it, and I'm sad about this. So but and so I think I've kind of gotten over that, and I live with it, because it's just again the difference between mediums. But yeah, I do think that to me, you almost can't hold it against the anime for that, but I understand why you can.
Mhm.
Or why
I mean, obviously I'm still loving it every week and laughing out loud, even though they're all jokes that I've read before.
Right.
But yeah, sure, it wouldn't look exactly like the manga, but like Brand said, anime looks really good these days, and this one doesn't. So, it could be a little bit better.
Look, they had to get all the facial expressions correct. So
yeah, that's where the money's got to go. Also, not every anime looks really good too. Like, there are plenty of dog shit looking animes out there.
Yeah, for sure. So. But that's why I said a good 2026 anime. For a good 2026 anime, it's not a very good looking 2026 anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll give it. I haven't read the manga yet. I think maybe once I'm done with Cross Game, I'll read it just to get that experience, and also see how the jokes translate over into like text and things like that, which will be a fun experience. But yeah, it does the job. Does the job. I think I'm one episode behind, so I'm not fully caught up on it yet, though I'm sure not a whole lot super duper happens. They go to Palau, they dive, and get fucking drunk, so.
I will say, if you thought Kohei's behavior in the previous episode was extreme, this episode is really going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Kohei is truly my... I was gonna take sort of a cop out for my favorite joke and just say Kohei is my favorite joke, because everything he does makes me laugh because of he's a disgusting man.
He's an honest man, okay?
Yeah, he
knows who he
lives
is.
out loud. Yeah, he lives
absolutely.
out loud.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Speaking of favorite joke, I'll just say, since that, Bran, I think you were the one who mentioned the opening and ending for it.
Yeah.
I pulled up the I really like both of them as well, and the ending song in particular I've been digging. So I pulled up the full version of the song, and in the music video for it, there is a with it's typical idol group sort of thing, but there is kind of like a we'll call him a heavier set, kind of middle-aged guy dancing around with them, a lot of times in a thong with the black circle around the thong, and I'm like, okay, I appreciate that joke. You guys understand the assignment here. So
they have to sell those, right?
I missed opportunity if they don't.
Absolutely. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but last year at AX, while the second season was about to start, they had I don't remember what it's called, but the thing that punches you in the balls set up for people to stand in line and get hit in the balls by it.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
And you did it, right?
Did not do it.
Gotta get the full experience.
Castro was
Also-
first in line.
Yeah.
I think
He
one of my
camped
friends
out
did.
the night before.
Can't call yourself a fan if you haven't done it.
My same friend who I mentioned buying the $300 print at AX this year in the last episode, I think he got his balls hit by that thing last year.
Nice.
Checks out.
Yeah.
Complete dedication.
Good stuff.
Yeah, really, really happy with the third season thus far, and I'm excited if what you say is true, Mark, about it hitting its stride and just kind of having this in this area of quality as a more consistent thing. That's also very exciting to hear as well.
Yeah.
And also Kohei becoming worse makes
Just you wait.
yeah, for sure.
If there's your assignment when we're done recording, you need to go watch this week's episode.
Yeah.
'Cause whatever you said, where it was something about like, oh yeah, Kohei just being the most like depraved motherfucker, and then you mentioned an earlier scene, and I was like, oh, I assumed he was talking about yesterday's episode. Then you were like, and I haven't seen yesterday's episode. Like, oh boy, just
Yeah, it's the audacity he has too, which I
Yeah.
love as well, because he doesn't care about what people think he is. So he will wear the "I'm the real brother" sash in the house of Iori and his family to claim that he's related to them.
I just love like it's a running gag, but whenever they're like, oh my god, these horrible, disgusting people, and he's like, yeah, I know, it's so suspicious how normal everything seems.
That, and of course him taking sides with the weird German weaves on
Yeah.
multiple occasions.
Them
Crossing
transcending language.
barriers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, he used to be an otaku.
used to be. Alrighty. How about we move on to another show here? We got a little bit of time yet, and we should probably cover a few more. So I actually want to hear a little bit about this Cat Dragon show from Kate, because as I mentioned before we started recording, my brother told me about this a little bit, and he liked it, which is interesting. He doesn't watch a ton of anime, and he was like, hey, there's this thing with this cat dragon.
So,
But then
yeah.
he did not go any further into detail.
Yeah, so The Cat and the Dragon is a really cute show based on a light novel that also apparently has a manga that neither of which are available in English. It is a cute story that begins with a dragon that is orphaned and before it can even hatch, and a cat, a fairy cat, wanders into the den cave where it had been laid, and she lies down to have her own kittens. Just happens she's like, oh, a perfect little empty nest, nobody's here, and she curls up, and then her lying there ends up hatching the dragon after she has her kittens, and so she just looks at him and goes, cool, I'll raise you too. And so the dragon is brought up believing that he is a weird cat, and realizes as an adolescent that he is not a cat, he is a dragon. But he takes himself to be the protector of all the forest cats from the humans that have come there and just randomly kill the cats for their fur. So he threatens an entire city of people and says, you touch my cats and you all die. And then saw one cat with the people and thought, okay, my mother did tell me that some humans are good. So he gives them a warning and returns to his forest and becomes the guardian of all the forest cats. And he can shapeshift to look like a cat dragon. A little cat with like dragon wings. And then each subsequent episode is telling the story of another like member of the cat family, or people who interact with said magical cats, or him raising the next generation of magical cats, because he kind of becomes their uncle, so they all call him like Winged Uncle.
Okay.
And the cats all have this dragon that teaches like them how to hunt and stuff. And it's just adorable, and the animation's really cute. It kind of looks like a coloring book. They like the characters all have kind of like thick outlines on them. But it's just an adorable feel good show about fantasy people doing cute things with cats.
Winged Unk.
It's very funny.
That does sound pretty adorable. Which then now it kind of makes sense why he would watch it, because he likes cute cat stuff. So maybe that's another one. I'm visiting him tomorrow and into the weekend, so I'm sure he'll try to show me an episode or two. Since I can't lie and say that I watched it, he'll know.
It's funny because like after the first episode, everyone's like, okay, that was kind of a full contained story. Where the heck is this going from here? And then it's like, oh, okay, so they're all just little short stories and stuff. I'm sure at some point there are longer arcs that develop because it's a whole 9-volume still running light novel series. So I'm guessing at some point some stuff actually happens that creates a longer storyline. But so right now it's just episodic cuteness of ridiculous talking cats and people and the dragon. But yeah, it's adorable. It's feel good. It's pure feel good. You'll just like, yep, I'm gonna watch these, and the cats are animated really well, and the show looks great. And which, like, for something like this, it could have very easily not looked great. There's plenty of things this season that look pretty terrible. But no, they put effort into this, and it's paying off because it's adorable. Just adorable.
Hey, nothing wrong with a little feel good every once in a while.
No, sometimes
Absolutely.
it's like you absolutely need it sometimes, and yeah.
Indeed. Speaking of feel good, you know what isn't? Jadugar.
The Mongols taking over.
The Mongol horde razing entire cities to the ground and killing everybody in them. Yeah.
Yeah. I do have to say, before we talk about the actual show, there's been a really funny thread I've been seeing on Twitter of someone basically commented on a clip from the show, and he's like, people are acting like this Genghis Khan guy was like Sukuna or something, and literally just like thousands of people quote tweeting this guy being like, brother, do you not know anything about who Genghis Khan was? Because he is literally real life Sukuna.
That's
Yeah.
I
one
watched him
Google
destroy
search.
an entire sports store one time.
Oh, that's
It
so
takes
funny, 'cause
one
I
Google
literally
search to
just
realize
watched Bill and Ted. That's good.
Yeah, we can talk about that maybe depending on how that goes. Wrap the night on, because I do think this is the best looking show of the season in terms of like art direction and style. Like it has such a wonderful like storybook look to it, while juxtaposing that with some of the really heavy traumatic vibes in the first like 1 or 2 episodes where everything just goes to hell in a handbasket, and it's still like this bright, colorful, very round, like smooth oblong objects instead of like very sharp, pointy things all over the place. And it's just like, oh, yep, and that city got ransacked, and Fatima, and Sitara go through everything they go through, and then it's just, oh, and now we're in the Mongolian camp, and it's just, it's such an incredible like art style and choice for that, because of the material that's in it, that it sometimes, I don't want to say catches you off guard.
Yeah.
But
it would be a hard pill to swallow if this looked like, Bones or Production IG joint, But I kind of
Yeah,
though I think it's kind of giving like Tezuka in a bit, because he
Yeah, for sure.
similarly is very like, he has that very distinct like childlike bubbly style, but like almost everything he wrote was very dark.
yeah.
Yeah, I in my review I compared it to, I'm like, yeah, it's like Tezuka meets Persepolis. It's like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah,
Yep.
it's very, it's like, oh, this is a very disarming art style that's like, it's very soft, it's very cute, it's, oh dear god, that's a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah, a lot of that, a lot of slave labor, a lot of really just nasty, no good things from that time period. And if anything, the roundness of the art style and the children's book of it is like a weapon to reinforce it in a way. It, not that it sneaks up on you, but I think it actually hits a little bit harder because it's such a tonal shift from what the art style and animation would want it to be, that it has even more of like a chilling effect as, Sitara goes through the many different iterations of her life up to this point. One of the things I thought about when we were watching the episode yesterday, my wife and I, is like, one of our complaints about Demons of the Shadow Realm stuff not happening, and it's like, this show has shit happening every 5 seconds. Like, it is so packed to the gills with stuff that's going on between the camp transitions, the new, which I love how it went pear-shaped almost immediately, but the plot for, Sitara to become more of a spy in the government, and that just gets ruined almost instantaneously. But then that's turned into a whole different plot line that furthers Sitara's main goal of revenge and getting the book back in a much more, at least what feels like, direct manner compared to what her original objective was, to be a spy on Ogedai and Chagutai, I think.
Yeah.
It was the other brother. So there's just, it's so packed with things going on, and just heart-wrenching in some moments and then triumphant in others when Sitara gets something going her way, a much needed W occasionally.
I do think that the story and the timeline so far have been one of my biggest qualms with the show so far, is that it does kind of feel like it's snowballing constantly, where, like the first time the Mongols invade, and like, the very first tragedy in Sitara's life, and like all the people she knows and like she's like, swept away somewhere else. And then, year or two passes, and then another big thing happens, and it took to what, like 5 episodes for it to feel like we're now at the point where it's like, okay, I think this is where we are going to stick for a while, and there will be maybe some inner political and like the story structure will kind of be less like gradually thrown forward, because I just feel like it's been just like, you think you're about to settle into like where the story is going to be, and then it's like, and then I get swept to a new camp and 3 years pass, and it's just like, oh shit, what's going on? So it's been a little disjointed, but I do really like the latest episodes, like unveiling at the end and being like, okay, I think this is what we're going with now, but we'll see. I could be completely wrong. I could just keep going years and years and years, just flying by. But that's my biggest complaint so far about the story. But I agree wholeheartedly that presentation wise, it's easily one of the most beautiful shows this season.
Yeah. What's funny is I liked that. It was always moving forward, and just all this stuff was happening to her, because I think it was just mimicking the upheaval of life when you basically get conquered by a force such as the Mongols and just transported from place to place, and you have like zero control over anything that's happening. And the best you can do is meet some folks who are kind of in the same position as you and hope that you can find some companionship in the turmoil, only for that to be wrenched away by, once again, a conquering force the size of the Mongol army.
Yeah, it's strange because it's the whole like these people showed you kindness, but at the very beginning it's like we see her ripped out of all that she's ever known, spends 8 years, adapting to her life. These people become her family. That's all ripped away from her. Another 8 years go by. She's with the Mongols, and then she's like working for this one lady, and then suddenly she's in another situation, and it's like just upheaval on like a regular schedule in her life of just like, nope, now's when everything goes to shit. And every time she's like settled into a new position and she's like, this is now where I'm comfortable. It's like, nope, now you're gonna go do this. Nope, now you're gonna go do that. But it's like, yeah, but she can't. The only thing that's keeping her like focused on the revenge is the fact that she thinks that I've got to find a way to like, maintain this one simmering ember of hate I have for these people that took everything away from me. And it's like, you've always been a slave. From day one, you were a slave.
Yeah.
It's like you at the end of that time in your family in Tus, you were maybe at the point of, oh, I might be able to move up in the world and not be a slave anymore. And then to have that all like taken away and everybody you ever knew taken away. So she just holds on to that one ember of hatred.
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking, oh yeah, like, yeah, you should hate the Mongols because look at how horrible they are. Oh god, he's not acting horrible when he's around his people. He's acting like a stupid dad and like a dopey brother. It's like the hard shift of these people are evil from your perspective, and from their perspective, they're doing the best for their people. And you were collateral damage. Sorry.
Yeah, it adds a really nice amount of complexity with which when she meets Toragene, the person that she works with now, one of
the sixth wife.
one of Ogadai's wives. I couldn't remember which one. And it comes up in that conversation with him where it's like, you almost forgave them, didn't you? Because your life is back to at least some semblance of consistency, even if it is still being a slave, but at least you're like generally safe and treated not terribly, but you can't forget how you got here in the first place. And then, she tells her tale, which is equally depressing and terrifying, even if it's not something you haven't seen before. With Sitara's story as well, like young woman lives with the tribe, they become her family, and then she basically gets her life completely upended by that. And even though she's quote unquote like royal and stuff here, it doesn't make that anger and that rage go away. Especially when it's just like you're being taken to be a wife for Ogadai or whatever, just almost purely as an object. Like, not a person or a partner, you're just an object. You're the sixth wife. Like,
yeah, you're a trophy.
Yeah. So even though you have quote unquote power and status, it doesn't actually mean anything for you as like the dignity of being a person. It doesn't mean anything. Which is also why she got so enraged when she lost that Jada Stone. Because it's the last thing she has to remind. Much like Sitara's book.
Mm-hmm.
The Jada Stone is the last thing she has connecting her to her previous life. So if you lose that, what do you really have? So, yeah. Really, obviously I like the story. But, it's It's one of my favorites.
My
for sure.
my one recommendation would be like, don't go poking around in history Wikipedias to look up these people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's fair.
It's yeah.
I wonder what happens to all these different brothers. Ooh.
Oh, eek. Oh.
How much worse can this get? Oh.
You
There's
can
also
pretty much
something-
kind of say that about anything that's historical. Like, just
That's
roll
true.
with it.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
like, are you a woman whose name was known to history? This isn't going to end well for you.
Yeah.
This
you mean
never ends
Hamilton's
well.
life was not like the musical?
Hmm.
So weird when I see pictures of the founding fathers and they're white. I'm like, what is this?
Hey,
Oh,
wait a minute.
My favorite one was always growing up in the UK and Braveheart came out, and I was like, William Wallace, not. Don't look
Not
him
as
up.
not as cool as Mel.
Not as cool as Mel. No.
You mean
And there's also
none of
something
these
to be
historical
said.
dudes were good? No.
Yeah.
And it's
What do
something
you
I
mean
need
they
to
were
keep.
all slave owners?
Yeah. Well, that's a great point too, because it's like I also have to remember in this, depending on the demographic of this story too, it's like they're also still slaves, and it's showing not a whole lot of probably some of the much darker parts of what being a slave, even in the Mongol Empire, was like.
Yeah, and slaves were like, every culture had different, aspects of what it meant to be a slave and how slaves were treated and what laws they were governed under. And it's like, yeah, no matter what, slavery bad, but like, yeah, it wasn't all like there's complexity there as to what level of property you were and how you were treated as a piece of property. It's like, were you treated as being expendable, or were you treated as something of wealth?
Yeah, well,
An
I think that's
asset.
illustrated nicely in that whole lost and found tent.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
god, the lost and found tent was like a set. Oh my god, I was just rolling. It's like, oh, where am I? Oh, you're at the lost and found tent. This is where all the the missing
This happens
cattle
a
and the
lot.
slaves end up. If after a thing, so we can get everybody back to where they belong. It's like, what?
Yeah,
Humans
exactly.
belong. It's like you're like a kid. It's like, please come to Lost and Found. We found your child.
From what I've read online, the original creator is rather well read on like the Mongol history. So like I'm glad that at the very least there's a lot of accuracy to the way that their culture is being portrayed so far. I mean, I don't know why you would make a story like this if you don't know shit about
Right.
it. So
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It's not even, just set in that time. Like, literally all of these people are real people.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Emily and I talked about it a little bit, where it's like, I don't know enough to say how accurate this is, but at least it feels like it's being respected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also,
not like caricatures. It feels like it's at the very least trying to treat it with some like reverence and respect, if it isn't accurate. But it felt like it was. So
yeah, I mean, it would have been easy. I mean, it's like, yes, the Mongol Empire was crazy, did horrible things, and murdered a shit ton of people. They would just go in and clear out an entire. It was like you had two options. You could acquiesce and swear allegiance, and cool, we won't do anything to you. But if you try to fight us at all, we're just gonna murder everything in your city down to like all your pets. Like an insane level of like, no, we're not gonna mess with that or whatever, and you're just gonna be gone. We might take some slaves from you before we destroy everything that you ever knew.
yeah, and the city's razed to the ground, so any culture you had is also going to be thoroughly eradicated. So yeah, that's a really good comparison, like a thing you said, like a, I don't know, I guess not a comparison, but the whole like Tezca mixed with Persepolis, I think is a really apt description of how this works, like how this show goes. But yeah, Kestrel, you're watching this too, right?
Yeah.
Anything
definitely.
that we didn't say?
Definitely agree with a lot of what you said. I appreciate the aesthetics, very unique, and they do a lot of really beautiful things with it. Directed by Naoko Yamada, who directed A Silent Voice, which is my favorite anime film. So good to see her flexing in this very different kind of territory. And yeah, the fact that it is real historical figures is always interesting to me. Like Vinland Saga, it's kind of like what we were talking about with Ghost in the Shell and Batman and stuff. It's like, yeah, this is an adaptation of these people. They can kind of go wherever they want with their stories. I don't need them to be perfectly historically accurate. I just need them to be interesting in the medium that they're using. And if I can, after the fact, look up some of the real life parallels to their histories, then cool. But yeah, definitely very interesting to see how it's playing out so far. And I think, like Kate was mentioning, the fact that it opens with this is a slave and her slave owners are just the greatest is an interesting perspective to start with, especially since, yeah, the great tragedy that she swears revenge on is essentially the same thing that happened to her in the first place that gave her her beloved family. So yeah, very interesting perspective for it to tell a story from, and very complex relationships between, basically everyone hates each other in an environment like this because they were all just conquered and stolen from their homes. So I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah, when Fatima, like in her last breath, goes, "Don't hurt my daughter," I was like, "Oof."
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Yeah, if those words hadn't been said, then I think she might have let go of the hatred. It just, slid into, yep, I just live here now. This is my life now. She would have eventually been like the other women who were taken from there and just, eventually, found a man, married into the, became a citizen, essentially. But she just can't let go. It was too traumatic.
Well, she had a family in a way, like maybe not at that exact moment, but Fatima wanted her to be a part of it and, marry their son and continue, learning and becoming, an intellectual and, be somebody.
Yeah.
And that was stolen away.
The crazy part is it's like that all that happened, and then like before like we even saw what happened, the narrator's like, yeah, this is the last time she ever saw him. Like, I was all like, whoa, okay, you're not even gonna let that, like, okay, there's not even gonna be a question if they're like, yeah, okay, and then like 3 episodes later we find out what happened to.
Yeah,
it was like, yep.
Well, yeah, when the narrator said that, I was like, well, yeah, okay, I'm prepared. Oh
god. Yeah, it definitely reminds me of a lot of other anime that are similarly kind of live in this unique space in historical fiction, because we don't get a lot of it. So, I mentioned Vinland Saga, and something I really appreciated about Vinland Saga was that it did try to portray the good slave owner until ultimately all slave owners are bastards.
Yeah, literally.
So I like that perspective a little bit more than just like, yes, my entire life is built around avenging my owners. Still is a little weird, even though I get it from her perspective. And then also Orb is another recent one where just the value of the book of elements to these people and the violence around getting it and trying to steal it from each other is very much in line with the plot of Orb as well. So yeah, it's a little bit of Vinland Saga, a little bit of Orb, a little bit of Tezuka, a little bit of Persepolis.
Got some Bride story in there. I know,
Right
my
story,
only
absolutely.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's like, oh, Mongol, okay, yeah, steep peoples traveling around yurts.
Yep.
And
Central Asia. Yep.
yep, Central Asia. It's just that Bride Story takes place like hundreds of years later.
Yeah. But yeah, similarly, Bride Story was kind of my introduction to a lot of that culture that inspired me to look more into it, because I'm like, okay, this is clearly based on real stuff that I have no context for.
I haven't read that, but visually insane. I've seen panels from it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, she's just an amazing artist. So
yeah.
Oh, just another reminder that I gotta watch Orb. Damn.
Also true. Yeah, I would recommend all of those. Read Bride Story as well, for sure.
All right. Well, I think the last one we had on the agenda was just a brief little chat about Goodbye Laura, since I believe Bran and I are watching it. And I wanted to touch on it just for a moment or two, because I think it is at risk of being one of those also rants. Where we have shows, like all the ones we've talked about, that are either incredibly good or at least like very well produced and hyped and have a built-in fan base. And this, this could go a little bit underwatched, and I think that would be sad. I'm saying that without looking at the numbers, so if I'm wrong, go fuck yourself. But I did want to talk a little bit about it, in that I'm enjoying it more than I thought, from the perspective of it feels very much like you're just watching The Little Mermaid at first. Yeah. But it's really turned into its own story now that you have to spend so much more time with Laura living in the modern world and having, in a lot of ways, the opposite reaction than the one you see in Demons of the Shadow Realm, where she's terrified of everything except Amazon, baby. Except online shopping.
I will say the first episode is basically they speedran The Little Mermaid. They like speedrun to the bad ending, and then she gets isekai'd to try again.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, let's do this again.
Which has ended with her getting punched in the face after really falling from like low orbit.
Yeah.
And that's how you get introduced to the other main character, is she just gets absolutely clocked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had some doubts going into it because of that a little bit. I mainly picked it because I liked the art style, and I'm trying to just pick up new stuff just based off that, sight unseen, because you never know. And I like what we're seeing with like Laura and the modern world around her, trying to figure out how to be a human again and find true love, but also live in this world where she wears her heart on her sleeve and talks about things like true love and just asks questions like a child would, despite, being a teenager and already, humans by that age are affected by like the social mores of what you quote unquote can and can't say or should not do in public. So she's just going around asking people about how to find the prince and true love and all this other stuff, which leads to some pretty like cute little comedic moments. And of course, it's definitely got some like Yuri vibes for sure, because it doesn't state that she has to find a prince necessarily. It's true love, and it definitely leaves that very open-ended, which is interesting as well.
Yeah, we all know where this is going.
Yeah. If the ending of like episode 3 didn't tell you.
Yeah. I will say same for me, that I basically picked it up based on I thought it looked really pretty. And yeah, so far I'm happy to have stuck around. It was interesting after watching the first episode being like, that was literally The Little Mermaid. And then I went online to do some digging, and I went down a rabbit hole figuring out that The Little Mermaid has been adapted in so many different ways through Japanese media. It's kind of crazy how many times they've done it. So
Yeah, they really love that story.
yeah, so I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. But yeah, no, this is a fun take on it, and I've been enjoying the story so far and the characters, namely Mari, I think is really good, and then the the like Ursula character, I don't know what to call her, but she's just like, I love her version in the like modern world, just being like a fish in a tank. So
Yeah,
good.
she's just a fish in a tank that fucks around with the Amazon Echo Dot.
Yeah. What was the other thing too that I'm like still trying to wrap my head around? Because I was like, can Mari actually communicate with her, or is it just like is Laura the only one that can actually understand her? It's kind of a weird, like,
Yeah.
and like the other like adult like people in the household don't know that the fish can talk, but like I don't know, maybe Mari has some kind of connection to that like sea world in a way, but I don't know, that part's still bewildering me a bit. But
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with right now that Amari can talk to Aunt Fishwitch
yeah.
because Aunt Fishwish allows it to be that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Like through magic or whatever, she talks to Mari, and Mari is somehow just like cool with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then Laura, obviously being a mermaid herself, by default can talk to, the aunt. So that's what I'm going with right now. And because, the aunt doesn't want everyone being able to talk to her, she's just controlling of kind of the magic in that way, or however it works. So, yeah.
But yeah, it's been good so far. I'm really interested to see what direction the story goes, because it's giving some cryptic vibes too, with like the her like sister, one of her sisters, I think, showing up, and like they're just saying some cryptic stuff about like, oh, she has to find love, like she is destined to this and that. It's kind of almost giving like Evangelion vibes, like we're gonna have like the Atlantic third impact or something, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, she essentially has to find true love somewhere, or like her whole family that's stuck in a coma will just be dead forever, as well as basically all of mermaid society.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of pressure there to find something, like to find true love, which gives her more impetus to always be looking. I did really love the little gag they had where she was trying to figure out who the Prince of Japan was by scrolling through Netflix and typing the word Prince in as a way to do research.
That's good.
And like Prince of Tennis came up. They called it Prince of Slow Tennis. And then all these other like movies and shows and things like that came up. And Laura was just like, who's the prince?
That's good.
Yeah. That's another fun another one of the series of gags of Laura interacting with modern life and technology in a weird way. Or how she loves canned hot chocolate, which I can only imagine actually tastes kind of gross, but you never know. Maybe they coat the cans right on the inside, but haven't had one of those. Maybe I'll have to find some someday, but
it's probably just one of those things that's like Thing Japan, good.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good show. It's really bright. I like the color palette.
Yeah.
It's really colorful and tries to take advantage of it definitely has like a shoujo vibe in the art and stuff too, with like some pointy face action going on, large eyeballs, all sorts of that things, but not quite as much as like Red River, which is one of the reasons I dropped that one, is I couldn't get over how long the chins were on some of the people. I like a big nose. The chin apparently is where I draw the line. So, but Laura, I think, has a good medium there in that way. So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that for a little bit with you, so we could get the word out that it's a pleasant little watch. It's another, like, I don't want to say it's as feel good as the Cat Dragon one appears to be, but there's a lot of little heartwarming moments once you get past the Little Mermaid stuff, and it's just her trying to figure out how life works now and hanging out with Mari and stuff, and you start to see that relationship develop and things. So it's a pretty lighthearted jaunt, I would say.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, getting pretty late here on the Eastern time zone thing as well, so I didn't know if you guys had anything you wanted to check in with real quick for shows that you're watching that we didn't get to. If not, we can bounce over into the recommendations as we usually do, but speak now or forever hold your peace.
I just wanted to make a... Oh my god. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just
Go ahead,
making
Brandon.
my mandatory One Piece endorsement just to get it out there. Just as someone who relatively recently caught up with the series, reading the manga, but I will say there was a moment that happened recently in the anime that was one of the few times I get to be like ahead of like a monumental moment in One Piece happening. And there's the reveal of like a mural that was like very big for like the lore and some of the world building for One Piece that happened recently. And I'm just like so happy that it's finally animated and people can like theory craft around it and stuff. I'm happy to be here in that moment. I just needed it to be known.
Our friends at the One Piece podcast recorded maybe 5 or 6 hours just about that one panel.
Oh, wow. I gotta listen to that one. Nice. But yeah, that's all. I've said my piece. My one piece.
Mm-hmm.
Your One Piece. So I was just going to say we were talking about it before recording, but for anybody who is interested in actual new material for Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You, the next actual new material will be August 20th. We've got 2 more episodes of broadcast release to finish out what the mini episodes covered, and the new material will be August 20th. So 2 weeks and 2 days from recording tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited for more of it. Though it's just going to add onto my season, and I will find the time for what is possibly one of the greatest inventions known to man, the cigarette. So
the cigarette, yeah. There you go. Well, as I said before about Grand Blue Dreaming, I think in the second half of this season is when it really starts to hit its stride. So there you go. So if you like the mini episodes, as far as I'm concerned, it's going to get better.
Nice. Looking forward to it. Anything else?
I'll just mention briefly, we keep bringing up Demons of the Shadow Realm and the fact that nothing fucking happens. And perhaps by the next time we record, I will have dropped it for that reason. Because it thinks it's a 52 episode series when it is not. But I gotta appreciate the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood that they snuck in there.
Oh yeah, that was cute.
Yeah.
Cute's one way to put that, sure. Yeah. Or maybe by the time we talk about it again, Kestrel, something will have happened.
Perhaps.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Yeah.
The last episode I watched, the old man started popping off, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's going hard in the paint, so at least.
Yes.
And it had that little joke about the security guard wanting time off.
I love that. He was like an old man shadowboxing and everything crumbling around him.
I would like time off, and he's like, "No, you'll do your shift." All right. Well, I think we can shift on over into some recommendations and then wrap it up for this evening. So, I mean, I always start with Kestrel for recommendations, so I'm not going to buck trends. So, is there anything on your plate for recommendations this time around?
Yeah, I'll recommend some nice old physical media for you guys. So we've got Dandadan Season 2 Blu-ray Collector's Edition. Also, I mentioned before the Lupin the Third Immortal Bloodline Blu-ray from G-Kids. That, in fact, just came out a few weeks ago. I wouldn't recommend it because it's not very good, but that just ties into what I was mentioning before. A new Blu-ray anime release from the company Media Blasters in the year 2026. That's actually worth purchasing. This is Genshiken, speaking of people who, believe it or not, used to be otaku. You can get that series on Blu-ray, Season 1 and OVA collection, the original Genshiken story. So just get it for the novelty of having something new from Media Blasters to buy. Also, if your fellow podcast host forced you to catch up on ReZero for the 4th season, Season 3 Blu-ray Limited Edition just came out last week. And also the Apothecary Diaries Season 1 Steelbook on Blu-ray. Might be a Crunchyroll store exclusive, which could mean that it's being locked out literally any second now. So if you're not a super mega Ultimate fan, get that while you can.
I am currently about 7 or 8 episodes into this ReZero watch, so maybe by the end of the season, I will have completed it.
Okay, well, they took the first half of this season off to give you time to catch up.
Okay.
There haven't been any new episodes since June.
The Steelbook is still available to order on Amazon. God knows what happens.
Okay, cool.
After that, it's like pre-order this now. It's like,
yeah, they might have extended it to not be an exclusive at some point. So good. I think it was supposed to be released already, and then it got pushed back. So maybe that happened in that process. And then later this month, another thing that I mentioned with the Discotek stuff is that they were releasing Frontier right after Tamers, and in fact, they're only 2 months apart. So their Tamers release hasn't even come out yet, and you can already buy Frontier. Again, it's just the dub version if you want your Fox Kids nostalgia. But for some Discotek releases that you absolutely should buy, Monster, the first half of the series on beautiful Blu-ray, first time most of the series has ever been released on video in the US. Definitely buy that. And then another re-release from G-Kids, the 10th anniversary of Your Name. You can get that on 4K for the first time in a US release. We've got a nice steelbook for that, and that is right on the 10th anniversary of the theatrical release. And you can read my article about the 10th anniversary of that film as well. And then for some not anime, but kind of anime, somewhat anime, I will recommend Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair, 4K Blu-ray Collector's Edition from Lionsgate Limited. More anime than ever, in fact. They added some of the animation for The Whole Bloody Affair.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
I'll have to rewatch that. I haven't seen Kill Bill in a very, very long time, either of them. So I guess no better opportunity than now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Seems like it.
Bran, anything?
Yeah. This just came out, so I've yet to play it, but I've been looking forward to it for a while. So if you happen to have a group of friends and you happen to enjoy playing games coined under the term friend slop, there is
this was going to be my recommendation. You're going to steal my recommendation.
I probably am, but it's called Big Walk. And it's like a new game where you walk around and solve puzzles, and it looks really neat.
I was really hoping it was going to be Big Walk WOK, where it was.
I also had that thought.
Nope, just walk. It's also if you have PlayStation Plus, it's free. So
Oh damn!
well, free being that you're paying for a service that is
Right.
getting more questionable by the day. But at least hey,
It's
free Big Walk.
It's free as long as they let you have it.
Yes, true.
Yeah. Which
And
is
as long as
how
you're
everything-
as long as you're subscribed, I think once you unsubscribe, you're no longer have access to it. But
kind of how all media is becoming now.
Yeah.
There's no more ownership, only subscriptions.
ugh.
Yes. But yeah, Big Walk looks fun.
I will say friend slop is one of my least favorite terms.
Yeah, that's a terrible
I
descriptor for that.
Yeah, I understand the need to categorize games like that, but it's so derogatory. So it's like I don't know. Even calling something that I think accurately is friend slop. I'm not trying to be mean.
Yeah.
This is what people will recognize as the common
Yes, it's
name.
the common parlance. Thanks, whoever decided that was what it was going to be. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but between that and my favorite is always just like you sound mad because you don't have friends.
Yeah, there's some of that too. Well, it's like, yeah, I think the game's what, $20 or something. I gotta look and see what
Probably.
the price is, which is a large ask for if depending on how many people you want to play. So
Yeah. Usually these games have pretty low barriers of entry.
intro, yeah, actually intro price is $15, and like I said, it's free on Oh, they have a friend slot bundle of being on Steam where you can get Big Walk and Peak.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I mean it's available on it's PC, Mac, if you have a new Mac, unlike mine, which is old. And yeah, it's out there. I have to see who wants to go walk with me.
Yeah.
Well, Kate, did you have anything for Plan B?
No, that was my plan.
That was
I was
it.
like, I'm not talking about Big Walk. God damn it.
Yeah, you added substantially to it. It was good.
How about you, Mark?
Well, I'll just
Is it
say
also a big walk?
no. If to play friend slop games, you need to have friends. So so
Aw,
no,
I play
not
friend
really
swap
for
games with you.
me. Oh, thank you. So the just kind of following on from one of Kestrel's, you mentioned the Your Name 4K release and whatnot. It's coming up back in theaters.
That's true.
So August 14th, I think. So if you like Your Name and you want to go see it in the theater, there you go. What, week and a half or so from here. But for the second episode in a row, I'm going to recommend Blue Box. Last episode, I had just started reading it. I don't know, I think like 30 or 40 chapters into it. It had just finished. And all I have done since then is finished reading the manga, watched
nice.
watched the first season, all 25 episodes of the first season. I've read the manga again. And have pissed Kestrel off in the process. So all positives. I may or may not have become a little bit of obsessed by it. So go read it, watch it, and be
Already
ready for
forgotten how
season
you pissed me
2.
off?
Oh, it was just Chris and I talking about it in the back channel without marking spoilers.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I didn't know Blue Box had shooters like Mark.
So I have become slightly obsessed by that. So and very much now looking forward to season 2 coming this fall on Netflix.
Nice. Well, don't
Yeah.
you worry, Mark. I'll do something to piss Kestrel off in the next like 10 or 15 minutes, I'm sure, and he'll forget all about it.
Hell yeah.
luckily, no one took mine for this week. It is also a new game because the manga I'm reading right now is a cross game, which I would very much recommend, but it's not new or anything. Though it's an absolute fucking tragedy that apparently you can't watch the anime anywhere legally. So do what you got to do there. But the manga is absolutely phenomenal and can be read on the Viz app as well as a bunch of other stuff too. So that's easily accessible at the very least. But
Well, what if I wanted to fill my tablet though? Okay.
Well, because they were so close to getting Kestrel. You almost got him.
I mean, I am reading it on the tablet for sure, and I actually don't have to. I'm not stretching this one, if only because the Viz app does a nice thing where it pushes the manga up to the top of the tablet screen, and then fills out in the proper aspect ratio, so all of like the empty space is down at the bottom. And then with the paper mode on my tablet that emulates like an e-ink screen, it makes all of the app icons and shit monochrome. So really easy to just completely ignore that they're down there. But the game that I wanted
beautiful. I just want you to know that.
The game that I wanted to recommend is Discotek.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. As someone who loves driving the choo-choos for Densha de Go at MagFest every year, which is very much a simulator, Discotek is just Tony Hawk with trains. So it has been a lot of fun. It has a really kicking soundtrack that they made for it while you're doing kickflips on your train and doing multi-track drifting and all sorts of meme-worthy bullshit. But it's been a really fun game so far. Lots of replayability, because you can go through the game really easily by just like bronze medaling all this stuff, but you want to go back and like get all the challenges from each of the stages, and it's doing pretty good so far at unlocking like new capabilities and levels, like new abilities and stuff. Like one I just unlocked is now if you do a trick inside of like a wind, like a whirlwind, it lifts you up to a different part of the level, so you can unlock some verticality and get off of the track, so you can get some variety there. But really fun. If you have Game Pass, it's on there for free, so you don't even have to quote unquote pay for it to play it. But I don't think it's any more than like $30 or $40 at the moment to buy it. It may even be cheaper. I haven't checked. I know it's not like the full freight MSRP $60-$70 stuff that you're seeing now. So definitely go out and play that. I wish I could tell you then to go play Densha de Go or something, but obviously not. Unless this sparks a love of trains in general within you, and then maybe go to that game to have the complete opposite experience. But it's a lot of fun. I will warn you though, it's very woke. So I've seen tons of complaints about it already on my feeds of people being like, this game would be great if it wasn't so woke, because you play as a girl and there's a top surgery like trans male in there as well, and all sorts of stuff that, you know, is super cool. But obviously if you're a sensitive little punk bitch, it's gonna bother you. So yeah, that's my recommendation. But all right, good stuff.
Nice.
All around from everybody. But as usual, we will call it for the evening. So Kestrel, let them know where they can find you, where they can find us, and we'll go around the room.
You can find me on Twitter at FullMetalKyoma and Blue Sky at KesperSwift.bsky.social. You can find us wherever you find podcasts. Subscribe, rate, and review. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, and the rest. We are on fanpost.com. You can also, again, contact with us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Blue Sky at fanpostradio, or via email, fanpostradio@gmail.com.
Nice. Mark, you go.
You can find me on Blue Sky at MD Thomas, and of course my reviews for Fandom Post. This season, episode by episode, I am reviewing The Ghost in the Shell, and the broadcast releases of Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You.
Nice. Bran.
You can find me at Hellshake Brando on all of the socials. And I'm right here. Yeah.
And then last but certainly not least, Kate, because I don't have any of that social media bullshit. So
No social media bullshit.
no.
No.
That is the correct choice.
I
Not to
envy
know.
your choice, but I'm in too deep. You can find me on Blue Sky at Sonic Bug. You can find my reviews on fandompost.com. This season, I am reviewing the Witch Mongolia, and that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Current season. There's a whole lot of demon ladies now. That's slime for you. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. And as always, you can find me right here. I guess since it technically does count, maybe someday you could run into me on like Reddit somewhere in a random retro gaming subreddit talking about like old RCA home computing or whatever. But other than that, that's about it. So, as usual, thank you everyone for listening. Enjoy your season. There's certainly plenty of variety to go around between raunchy drinking, scuba diving shows, and shows about the tragedy of the Mongolian Empire. So, tons of variety and extremes to deal in. But yeah, as always, enjoy the season. Stay safe. Also, play some good video games while you're at it. And we'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.